A recent study by the U.S. National Institute on Aging made a discovery that surprised even the researchers themselves. Older adults who slept the same number of hours each night, but at different times, had a 37% decline in memory performance after just 7 days. These people weren't staying up all night or sleeping poorly. Their total sleep time was the same. What changed was when they slept, and that simple shift in schedule was enough to interfere with how their brain stored and recalled information. This means that even if someone goes to bed late and wakes up late or sleeps early one night and late the next, their brain may struggle to function properly, especially in areas related to memory. Now think about the small moments in daily life. Walking into a room and forgetting why. Struggling to find the right word in a conversation. Searching for your glasses only to find them already on your head. These moments are often brushed off as just getting older, but science shows there's more to the story. The brain has its own schedule. Inside every person is something called a biological clock. It controls sleep, hunger, hormone release, body temperature, and most importantly, cognitive functions like memory. This clock works best when the body follows a regular rhythm. Waking up, eating, and sleeping at roughly the same time each day. When sleep happens at different times, that clock becomes confused. The brain's natural timing falls out of sync, and important processes, like memory formation, don't happen as smoothly. One of the key processes during sleep is called memory consolidation. It's when the brain reviews the information from the day, sorts it, and stores it. If sleep timing changes too often, this process is disrupted. The brain doesn't get the signal to start the sorting. As a result, short-term memories may never become long-term ones. That's why people may forget things more quickly or feel mentally foggy after just a few nights of irregular sleep. At Harvard Medical School, researchers looked deeper into this and found that irregular sleepers had reduced activity in the hippocampus, the area of the brain most responsible for forming and recalling memories. It's the part that helps you remember names, appointments, conversations, and daily tasks. When the sleep cycle is unstable, this part of the brain doesn't operate at full capacity. Let's take a simple example. A man in his 70s starts watching late-night shows regularly. Some nights he sleeps at 10, other nights at 1 in the morning. He still gets 7 hours of sleep, but at different times. Over a few weeks, he starts forgetting where he put things. He feels mentally slower and less focused. He doesn't realize that it's not just age. It's a shifting sleep schedule affecting his brain function. This happens because the brain prepares for sleep in advance. Hormones like melatonin begin rising a few hours before your regular bedtime. If that bedtime keeps changing, the body never settles into a proper rhythm. It's like try to plant a tree, but moving it to a new spot every few days. The roots never get a chance to grow. Fortunately, the solution is not complicated. The first step is to set a consistent bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends. This gives the brain a reliable signal of when to power down and when to start fresh. Once this pattern becomes routine, the body will naturally feel sleepy and alert at the right times. Sleep quality improves, and so does memory. Next, it's important to support this rhythm during the day. One of the most powerful tools for doing this is morning light. Getting sunlight within the first hour of waking helps reset the internal clock. Just 15 to 30 minutes of natural light in the morning tells the brain that the day has started, which helps regulate melatonin and improve nighttime sleep. Another action that supports better brain function is avoiding bright artificial light in the evening. Blue light from phones, tablets, or televisions tells the brain to stay alert. This delays the sleep process and throws off the body's internal clock. Ideally, screens should be turned off an hour before bed. If that's not possible, using a dim screen or blue light filter can reduce the impact. Meals also play a role. Eating dinner at different times each evening can confuse the body, just like irregular sleep. When possible, aim to have your last meal 2 to 3 hours before bed. This gives the body time to digest and helps prepare for deeper sleep. What about naps? Short naps, around 20 minutes, can be helpful for recharging, especially in the early afternoon. But longer naps or naps taken too late in the day can disrupt the night sleep schedule. If you nap, try to do it before 3 p.m. and keep it short. Now, Here's an easy checklist to help improve sleep timing and protect memory. Choose a regular bedtime and wake-up time. Stick to it daily. Get sunlight in the morning. Go for a walk, sit by a window, or open the curtains. Avoid screens 1 hour before bed. Read, stretch, or listen to soft music instead. Eat dinner at a consistent time, preferably early in the evening. Keep naps short and early in the day. Keep the bedroom dark, cool, and quiet at night. These steps may seem small, but they have a strong effect over time. After a few weeks of following a steady routine, many people notice clearer thinking, better focus, and fewer memory slips. The brain, when given a stable environment, performs its job more effectively, including holding on to important memories. It's easy to underestimate how much sleep timing matters, especially when total hours seem enough. But science has shown that the regularity of sleep is a powerful tool for protecting memory, one that's simple to control, no matter your age. Changing your sleep habits might take a bit of effort at first, but the benefits build up. A sharper mind, more consistent mood, and better memory are all worth the change. And while adjusting your sleep is a powerful place to begin, it's not the only habit that affects memory. Even everyday foods, especially the ones that seem harmless, can quietly affect how clearly you think and how well you remember. After sleep, one of the next habits that quietly affects memory is the way we eat, especially how much hidden sugar is in our daily food. It's easy to think of sugar as something found only in sweets or desserts. But the truth is, sugar hides in many everyday foods. Packaged bread, flavored yogurt, salad dressings, canned soup, and even healthy fruit juices. Many of these don't taste overly sweet, which makes it harder to notice how much sugar we're really taking in. The problem is not just the sugar itself, but what it does to the brain. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who regularly consumed refined sugar, especially in processed foods, had smaller volume in the hippocampus, the same part of the brain responsible for forming and storing memories. In simpler terms, the part of the brain that helps you remember things was literally shrinking. This happens because refined sugar increases inflammation in the brain and reduces the brain's ability to make new connections. Over time, high sugar intake can lead to insulin resistance, not just in the body, but in the brain. When the brain becomes resistant to insulin, its ability to process and store information declines. This condition is now being studied as one of the early contributors to memory loss and even dementia. Take a typical example. An older woman who starts her day with white toast and fruit juice, enjoys a sweet snack in the afternoon, and adds bottled dressing to her salad at dinner. She isn't eating cake or candy, but her daily intake of added sugar is still very high. Over time, she notices her thinking slows down. She starts to misplace things more often and feels less focused. These changes don't come overnight, but they build quietly. The most effective step is to become more aware of what's really in the food we eat. That begins with reading labels. Many processed foods list sugar in other forms, like high fructose corn syrup, cane juice, maltose, or dextrose. If sugar is one of the first ingredients, or if multiple types of sugar are listed, it's best to limit or avoid that item. Choosing whole, unprocessed foods is the safest approach. Fresh vegetables, whole grains, plain yogurt, nuts, and home-cooked meals contain little or no added sugar. Even with fruit, it's better to eat the whole fruit instead of drinking juice. The fiber in whole fruit helps slow down sugar absorption, protecting the brain from sudden sugar spikes. Small changes make a big difference. For example, switching from white bread to whole grain, using olive oil and lemon instead of packaged dressing, or replacing sugary drinks with water or herbal tea can reduce sugar intake without feeling restricted. Over time, the brain benefits from this shift, improving clarity, attention, and memory function. And if diet has such a strong effect on memory, there's another daily habit that often goes unnoticed: the amount of time spent indoors. Spending most of the day inside might seem harmless, but a lack of natural light has real effects on how the brain works, especially on mood and memory. Light exposure isn't just about being able to see. Sunlight plays a direct role in how the brain controls mood, alertness, and even memory processing. At the Salk Institute, scientists discovered that natural light increases the production of serotonin, a chemical that helps with mood balance and cognitive sharpness. Serotonin also helps regulate sleep, which further affects memory. When a person doesn't get enough sunlight, their serotonin levels drop. This often leads to a foggy mind, low energy, and difficulty focusing or remembering things. Even if sleep and diet are well managed, a lack of daylight can still make the brain feel dull. One example is a man who retires and spends most days indoors, watching TV, reading, or staying in bed longer. Over weeks or months, he begins to feel slower mentally. His thoughts are less sharp. He forgets names more easily. He feels tired, even though he hasn't done much. The missing piece? Sunlight. The good news is that the solution is both simple and free. Getting outside for at least 20 minutes each morning can reset the brain's internal rhythm and boost serotonin naturally. Walking in the morning light, opening curtains fully, or sitting in a sunny spot while reading or having breakfast all help. Spending time with plants in a garden or watering them outside is also helpful. These small habits add up and give the brain a much-needed signal to stay awake and alert. Artificial light from indoor bulbs doesn't have the same effect. The brain needs a full spectrum of sunlight to produce the right signals. Even on cloudy days, outdoor light is stronger than indoor lighting. So making it a habit to step outside, even briefly, helps the brain stay in sync with its natural rhythm, supporting better memory, focus, and mental energy throughout the day. Now, if someone has been eating carefully, sleeping well, and getting enough light, but still finds their memory slipping, it's worth looking at what might be missing on the inside. Specifically, a nutrient that many older adults are low in without realizing it, vitamin D. Vitamin D is well known for its role in bone health, but its effect on the brain is just as important. At Tufts University, a study found that older adults with low vitamin D levels had a 60% higher risk of cognitive decline compared to those with normal levels. Vitamin D helps protect the brain by reducing inflammation and supporting nerve health. Without enough of it, communication between brain cells slows down, memory formation becomes less efficient, and in some cases, people may start to feel physically tired, mentally foggy, or emotionally low, even if they sleep well and eat right. One case involved a woman in her mid-60s who started feeling more forgetful despite resting enough and having a balanced diet. She also felt unusually tired during the day and found it hard to focus. After a routine checkup, her doctor found that her vitamin D level was very low. After starting a supplement and spending more time outdoors, her energy and mental clarity improved over the following months. The first step is to check your vitamin D level through a simple blood test. Many people assume they get enough from sunlight, but the body's ability to produce vitamin D from sun exposure decreases with age, especially in people who cover up outdoors, stay inside, or live in areas with limited sunlight. If levels are low, vitamin D can be increased through safe sun exposure, vitamin D-rich foods like salmon, egg yolks, and fortified milk, or supplements prescribed by a healthcare provider. Improving vitamin D levels isn't about boosting memory overnight. It's about giving the brain the right support to function well, reduce mental fatigue, and prevent early decline over time. When combined with steady sleep, reduced sugar, and time in natural light, this one change becomes part of a larger picture that helps protect and support the brain every day. Because just like the body needs fuel and rest, the brain needs rhythm, light, and nutrients to stay strong. One of the most common misunderstandings about memory is the idea that it naturally fades with age and that nothing can be done about it. Many people think slower thinking is simply a normal part of getting older, but that belief can be harmful. It often leads to giving up on learning or using the brain in new ways, which actually speeds up memory decline. According to the Alzheimer's Association, people who stop challenging their brain are more likely to experience faster cognitive decline. The brain is like a muscle. It needs regular use to stay strong. When it's not being used, the connections between brain cells weaken and thinking becomes slower. The brain forms new pathways when it is challenged with unfamiliar tasks. These tasks don't need to be difficult. Learning to play a new board game, try to write in a notebook every day, or even reading a new book all help strengthen memory. In a 2020 study from the University of Texas at Dallas, Researchers found that older adults who learned new skills like photography or digital editing over 12 weeks showed significant improvement in memory compared to those who only engaged in routine activities. A retired man who spent most of his day doing the same things, watching TV, checking the news, began forgetting appointments and names more often. Later, he joined a chess club and started learning to play. After a few weeks of practice and regular brain activity, his focus and short-term memory improved. This kind of change is not rare. It's backed by how the brain responds to novelty and learning. Simple actions like writing by hand for a few minutes each day, reading aloud, or learning something new, even just a few words in another language, are small but effective ways to keep the brain sharp. They don't require special equipment or classes. What matters is doing something mentally active every day. Just like physical exercise keeps the body strong, mental activity keeps the brain alert and responsive. But even with regular brain training, there's another issue that can hold memory back, something very basic: not drinking enough water. Many people underestimate how much water the brain needs. The human brain is about 3/4 water, and it needs proper hydration to think clearly. According to the Mayo Clinic, even mild dehydration can affect memory, focus, and short-term thinking. In fact, a study published in Nutrition Reviews found that dehydration led to lower scores on memory and attention tests, even in healthy older adults. The brain relies on fluids to help transmit signals between neurons. When a person is dehydrated, those signals slow down. That's why someone might feel mentally foggy or forgetful, even if they're otherwise healthy. This often happens without any strong feeling of thirst. As people age, their sense of thirst becomes weaker. By the time they feel thirsty, their body may already be dehydrated. One example involved a woman who stayed indoors most of the day and drank little water, thinking she wasn't thirsty. Over time, she felt more tired and had trouble remembering small details. Once she began drinking water regularly and including water-rich foods in her meals, she felt clearer-headed and more alert. The best way to prevent this kind of mental fatigue is to stay hydrated throughout the day. Aiming for about 6 to 8 glasses of water per day is a good goal, though this can vary depending on body size, health conditions, and climate. Including foods like soups, oranges, cucumbers, and melons also helps. Instead of drinking a large amount of water at once, it's better to sip slowly across the day. Carrying a bottle or setting reminders to drink water every couple of hours can be helpful. If plain water isn't appealing, adding lemon or mint can improve the taste. But sometimes, even when sleep, food, and water are well managed, memory issues still show up. In those cases, it's worth looking more closely at a factor many people forget to check: the side effects of common medications. Many older adults use over-the-counter medicine for allergies, colds, or sleep problems. These often include antihistamines, especially first-generation ones like diphenhydramine, known in products like Benadryl or certain sleep aids. While these drugs may help with short-term symptoms, they also interfere with memory. According to research from Montefiore Medical Center in New York, these medications affect a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, which is essential for memory and learning. When this chemical is blocked, even slightly, memory can become slower and mental confusion may increase. This effect is stronger in older adults, whose brains are already more sensitive to changes in chemical balance. In a long-term study published in JAMA Internal Medicine, researchers found that people over age 65 who regularly used anticholinergic medications, which include many allergy and sleep aids, had a significantly higher risk of developing dementia. Consider the case of a man in his 70s who took allergy pills regularly for a stuffy nose. He began forgetting simple tasks, like taking his keys or locking the door. After a visit to his doctor, the medication was identified as the likely cause. After switching to a non-anticholinergic option, his memory improved gradually over the following weeks. The important step here is not to stop taking medication suddenly, but to have an honest conversation with a doctor or pharmacist. Many people don't realize that even common drugs can have long-term effects on memory. There are often safer alternatives, especially for older adults. Another useful habit is to keep a list of all medications being taken, including supplements, and review it regularly with a healthcare provider. Some medications may interact with each other in ways that affect brain function, even if each one seems harmless on its own. Memory problems can sometimes begin not because the brain is failing, but because something in the body, like a pill taken every day, is quietly getting in the way. Identifying and adjusting those factors can lead to surprising improvements. And strangely, one of the most overlooked causes of memory decline isn't always chemical or physical. Sometimes it's what happens when life becomes too quiet, too still. Without social interaction or new conversations, the brain misses a powerful form of stimulation, and that's where we'll turn next. It's easy to think that memory problems are all about sleep, food, or medication. But one of the most powerful influences on brain health isn't found in a pill or on a plate. It's found in other people. Human beings are social by nature. The brain is designed not just to think, but to connect. And when those connections fade, when someone spends too much time alone, the brain can begin to shut down in quiet ways. In a long-term study from Harvard University, researchers followed over 700 people for more than 75 years. They found that the strongest factor in maintaining both physical and mental health in older age was a quality of social relationships. People with strong connections with family, friends, or community stayed sharper, more engaged, and more emotionally balanced than those who were isolated, even if their diet and exercise weren't perfect. Dr. Robert Waldinger, director of the Harvard Study of Adult Development, has said, "Loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism in reducing lifespan, and it has a deep impact on memory and brain function. When a person goes days or weeks without meaningful conversation, their brain gets less stimulation. They may stop hearing new ideas, using language creatively, or reflecting on shared experiences. This slows down the parts of the brain responsible for memory and attention. Over time, this lack of stimulation makes thinking duller and memory less reliable. For instance, a retired woman who lived alone stopped going to weekly gatherings after a minor illness. Months later, she found herself speaking less, forgetting words more often, and feeling disconnected. After she joined a local group for light yoga and community activities, her mood and memory improved. The change wasn't dramatic overnight, but her brain had started reconnecting. Staying socially active doesn't mean attending large events or making constant phone calls. It can be as simple as having a short chat with a neighbor, joining a community class, or calling a friend once a week. Even brief but regular interaction helps. Small actions like shopping at the same market and saying hello to familiar faces, sitting in a park where others are around, or participating in a book or craft group can support the brain's social network. Video calls, group texts, and voice messages also count. Anything that keeps the mind involved with others. But what if memory keeps getting worse? Even after sleep, diet, hydration, social activity, and medication are all carefully managed. That may be a signal from the brain that something deeper is happening, something that needs attention beyond everyday habits. Doctors call this condition mild cognitive impairment, MCI. It's not the same as dementia, but it can be a warning sign. People with MCI may forget things more often, repeat questions, or lose track of time, but they can usually still live independently. However, without support or treatment, MCI may progress to more serious cognitive decline. Dr. Lisa Genova, a neuroscientist and author of Still Alice, has said, MCI is not something to ignore. It's your brain's way of saying it needs help. And there's a window of time when action can make a real difference. In one study published in The Lancet, early detection of memory decline was linked to better long-term outcomes. People who recognized changes early and received proper evaluation were more likely to maintain brain function for longer, sometimes delaying dementia symptoms by 5 to 10 years. A typical example, a man in his early 70s started forgetting names of common objects and repeating stories. His family thought it was normal aging, but a doctor suggested a neurological evaluation. Tests confirmed MCI, and early therapy was started. With guidance, brain training, and support, his condition remained stable for years. If signs like frequent repetition, losing words, or confusion with time and place become common, it's time to speak with a healthcare provider, ideally one with experience in cognitive health. A neurologist or memory clinic can perform simple tests to understand what's happening. Often these assessments are painless and quick, but they give valuable insight. Early action can include lifestyle changes, memory exercises, medication if needed, or simply more structured support. The most important thing is not to wait. The earlier memory changes are explored, the more options are available. And no matter the cause or stage, memory is not something that disappears overnight. It responds to care, attention, and small daily choices. Because in the end, memory isn't just about remembering facts or dates. It's about keeping hold of the life we've lived, the people we love, the lessons we've learned, the stories that shaped us. When we protect our memory, we protect our ability to stay present. We hold on to connection, identity, and meaning. And while age can change the body, it doesn't have to erase the mind. The brain responds at any age to movement, light, hydration, learning, and love. So if you've noticed yourself slipping a little, forgetting more than usual, losing focus, or feeling mentally tired, consider that it may not be age alone. It might be a signal, a quiet reminder from your brain asking for better care. And that care doesn't need to be complex. It can start with a walk in the sun, a glass of water, a call to a friend, a new book, a little more structure to your sleep, or simply curiosity. Memory doesn't fade because of time alone. It fades when we stop using it, when we stop nurturing it. But it can also come back when we do. So take that step, ask the question, make the change. Because no matter how old you are, your mind still wants to grow, and your memory is still worth protecting. If this video helped you see things differently, or reminded you of something important, please share it with someone else who might need it too. Leave a comment with your own experiences or questions or tips that work for you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to stay connected with more ways to take care of your mind and your life. Because you are not just here to remember the past. You're here to live fully, clearly, and meaningfully today.